All right, what is going on, Patriots fans? It is Jason Cole with the Patriots Drive podcast back today after the receiver portion of the NFL Scouting Combine. There was some drama. We'll get into that in a minute, but this was a deep class. This was very impressive performance by some guys, and I think it showed the depth of the position in this draft class, and New England has some options to go. But Cole, what was your initial reaction to the wide receiver portion of the Scouting Combine?
Well, at first I would have said crazy speed, record-setting speed from all these different guys, but after the official times came out, some of those changed. Some big names, their times dropped quite significantly, but it was still overall a really fast class. There were 6 guys that timed sub 4.35 40-yard dash speeds at the wide receiver position. There was a lot of speed on the field still, even though a lot of the times changed. Still an impressive class, still a fast athletic class, a lot of impressive players, a lot of depth, like you spoke on. There's a lot of guys that you can get in rounds 2 and 3 that could be real impact players in the NFL. So we'll touch on some of the guys that were at the top of the draft too, and if some of those guys may or may not still be in play for the Patriots. But starting off at number 5, who was one of the guys who impressed you most at the combine today?
Yeah, this is a speedster. He was great at the Senior Bowl. He comes in at 5'8" on the smaller end. He's only 170 pounds, but he tested third highest in the 40, third highest in the vert, second highest in the broad jump. He had a 4.32 40, 39-inch vert, and 11.3 broad. That's Calvin Austin, the third out of Memphis. Like I said, in the Senior Bowl, he's a speedster. He got down the field with ease, was blowing by dudes on vertical routes. And I think that you saw just how explosive he can be in his testing numbers. Those are impressive numbers for a dude that's 5'8", 170. And there might be some concerns there with his size. He only has 30-inch arms and 9.25-inch hands. So a little bit on the smaller end of things. But when you got speed and explosion like that, there's going to be ways teams can, manufacture a package and touches for you. So he's someone that I don't know if he's going to be a day 2 pick. Maybe he squeaks into the 3rd round, but I think this guy's a surefire early day 3 pick now. A 4th, a 5th round guy, and he might make some fireworks on the field.
He's certainly on the smaller side, but if you had to use one word to describe this guy, it would be explosive. He tested extremely well for his size. Testing that high in the broad jump, the vert, and in the 40-yard dash, he was one of the top athletes at the combine today, and that was really impressive for a guy of his size. Shorter strides, shorter legs, still going after it within the 40-yard dash and all the different tests. So he was really impressive. I thought he improved his stock a lot today. Like you said, on the smaller side, that doesn't always translate. There's more of a specific role for guys like that, usually like a Jakeem Grant type player. But I agree. Early day 3, certainly a player to watch with that much explosion. He tested really well today. And another guy who tested well, who's maybe a little bit on the smaller side as well, but this guy's a little bigger, Skye Moore, 5'10", 195 pounds, 10.25-inch hands. He did decent on the vertical and the broad jump, 34.5-inch vert, 10-foot, 5-inch broad jump. So that was pretty solid. And then his 40-yard dash time was 4.41. So basically a 4.4 40-yard dash, pretty solid speed. The guy would be a perfect slot receiver in the Patriots system. I think the way he runs routes, the efficiency of it, the way he gets in and out of breaks, I think he would be a great fit in this system, just the type of receiver he is in the slot. He's impressive. So he tested out pretty well today. I think he's a guy who has been shooting up draft boards. He projected as maybe a 3rd round pick, starting to shoot up into that 2nd round pick range. I don't think he's going to get out of the 2nd round at this point. Tested really well. A lot of people are really high on this guy, and he continues to trend up and up and up the more people get to look at him.
Yeah, getting comparisons to Julian Edelman, that one intrigued definitely a lot of Patriots fans. But the smoothness that he has in his routes, the ability he has to have loose hips, snap off routes at the top, or snap off breaks at the top of his routes, and then a 4.4 40 and good jumping numbers. He measured and he tested really well. This is a guy that will mostly play inside, but he can slide outside, has some versatility. And he's coming from Western Michigan, a lower division school, so always the competition is going to be a question. But I think that just shows there's room for improvement. There's room for this guy to, still have some growth in his game, and maybe come in and develop into something special year 2 or 3. Maybe you think of a Cooper Kupp kind of guy that really just dominated at the level he was at, even though it's not FCS, but he really just dominated with his numbers, and he could come in and create separation with ease. So Skye Moore was great. Another guy for me, this is a guy that's coming off of injuries in the last couple of years, and might have had some off the field troubles, but this is George Pickens out of Georgia. He's got all the talent in the world. If he were to play his last 2 years and it were to be anywhere close to what his freshman year was, and he had that showed that ability, I think that he's a surefire first round pick. That's how good his talent is. And he tested really well today coming off an ACL injury. He goes 4.47 in the 40, which is 13th best, a 33-inch vert, and a 10.5-inch broad jump. Coming off an ACL injury and only playing 3 games this year, this dude has all the talent in the world. Those testing numbers are good enough for me. His hands are a little small. He is sub 9 hands, 8 3/4. That's a little concerning for a guy that's 6'3", but his body size and the ability that he has to run down the field, make contested catches. You saw a really good 52-yard catch against Alabama in the national championship game, and you saw some stuff his freshman year that, really is eye-opening. And if he is anywhere near healthy and he can stay there, I think that he's going to be a steal in this draft.
And I saw an impressive catch in one of their practice tapes where it was a one-handed crazy snag by him. For the size hands he has, that's impressive. So maybe it's not going to be a problem for him. Maybe he's absolutely fine with the size hands he has, but it is worth noting. It is a little bit concerning, but certainly an intriguing prospect in the late second round, probably George Pickens. Like you said, coming off ACL, it's impressive. He played a few games. He did pretty well. Did good in the national championship. Like you said, had that great catch. And he tested pretty well today. Originally, we thought he tested at 4.4, but it got changed to 4.47. So the speed is a little less than what we originally thought, but still 4.47 is pretty good for a guy his size. Can't take it for granted. I thought he had a pretty solid day. So moving on to my favorite prospect in the draft. You guys have heard me talk about him plenty of times, Chris Olave. He tested pretty well today. We both thought that he was gone. There's no chance he falls to the Patriots pick after he ran a 4.26 40-yard dash, but that has since been updated, and his 40-yard dash time was officially 4.39, which is that's a crazy jump from 4.26 to 4.39. So that changes things a little bit. I think he's still possibly in play for the Patriots. I think it's going to be close. I think he'll still be in that 18 to 21 range. Maybe the Saints end up picking him at 18, something like that, or 19. One of those two picks. They have one of those. I think it's going to be close whether he falls to us or not. If he does, I would love to have him. I still absolutely love Chris Olave. He's a very talented athlete. I think he probably wishes he ran his second 40-yard dash at this point now that he found out what the real testing number was. But after you see 4.26 pop up on the screen and you don't run that, you're like, I'm done. If I ran a 4.26, I'm not jinxing anything. I'm good. So I don't blame him for that. But his official time, 4.39, a little bit worse. Still one of my favorite prospects in this draft. I would absolutely love the Patriots to have him. Great route runner. Go to the intermediate, go to the deep levels of the field. He'd be perfect here. I think he fits this system better than almost any other receiver, especially at the top of the draft. Scheme wise, just crisp in and out of routes. Can run the whole route tree. His timing, rhythm, all that stuff. He's really, really talented. So Chris Olave did a great job today. Upped his stock a little bit. Even with the fake 4.26, I think he got plenty of publicity and people are certainly paying attention to his name.
Yeah, dream pick at 21 for me and you both should be for most Patriots fans, the ability that he has, and even getting, bumped down to a 4.39, that's still impressive. His other Ohio State teammate runs a 4.38. So they're very similar. I think that he's, like you mentioned, great intermediate route runner. He can track the deep ball well. He's going to be the most polished, most pro-ready receiver, in my opinion, coming out of this draft. And that's going to be, good, come in, making an immediate impact if that is where he lands in New England and with Mac Jones. But the guy for me that just tested incredibly today, he also had a 40, moved from a 4.28 to a 4.36. But this is Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. He's coming from the FCS level, but 6'4", 208 pounds, 32.5-inch arms, and 10 1/8-inch hands. Massive. He had the 7th fastest 40, 6th highest vert, and the longest broad jump, 38.5-inch vert, and 11 feet 4 inches for the broad jump. He's incredible. The dude tests incredibly. He was great at the Senior Bowl. He dominated at the FCS level, which is what you need to do if you want to, make it as a, big time receiver in the NFL. It's a little less noticed, and he is playing for one of the most well-known programs at the FCS level, but still he was incredible for 2 years there when Trey Lance was there. And this year, I think that he probably solidified a 2nd round pick this draft. I mean, maybe he slips into the early 3rd round, but with the size and the athletic ability and the stats and film that he has, this dude's a slam dunk pick for me in the 2nd round. If New England were to go somewhere else at 21, I would be all over him at 54 for the Patriots in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I would be as well. If the Patriots are looking for an X receiver and they're looking to not go round one, this is the perfect guy. Perfect guy. 6'4", like you said. His 40-yard dash time was still really impressive for a guy his size. 6'4", 208, I think you said, something like that. That's crazy. I mean, the dude's got wheels. You could see it on film. You could see the speed he plays with, but still, I didn't think it was going to be as impressive as it was. And he certainly flies. He's got good hands, big body X receiver. Be perfect for the Patriots if they're looking for a new X receiver. Say they trade Nelson Aguilar and they want Christian Watson to come in here in the second round, and maybe they draft a slot receiver late. That could be an option. So he tested out extremely well. He was one of the biggest risers based off what he did today athletically, not only his speed, his vert, his broad jump, just an athlete. That's what this guy is. And at his size, it was super impressive. So a lot of depth in this draft, not just Christian Watson. I mean, Pickens, Moore, Austin, all those guys we just touched on. There's a lot of guys that in rounds 2 to 3, a lot of them moved up to round 2 today. Maybe Austin is still in that round 3 range, but a lot of talent, a lot of talented players showed up today at the NFL Combine, and those are 5 of our top favorites. But there's plenty more who had some good performances as well. But these guys certainly stood out among the rest.
Yeah, well, let us know in the comments who stood out to you, if it's one of these 5 guys who you'd like to see New England draft, or if there's other ones. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. Stay up to date. Live shows every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be doing this throughout the offseason. More combine news, offseason draft news. And make sure you follow our Instagrams, which are on the screen, to stay up to date when we're not on the YouTube. But thank you guys so much for all the support.